We'll let we'll just get started because we've got a packed agenda for today. So thanks everyone. So great to see so many of you on our bi-monthly call for So Everybody Can Move. I sent out the agenda, but as we've always kind of done with each of these calls, kind of starting off by sharing some stories of our why and why we're here doing So Everybody Can Move, how it's impacting the limb loss, limb difference community. And so we've got two individuals that are going to be sharing their stories today. First, it's going to be Saxon Reynolds from Virginia. Hey, Saxon, I see you on there. Sorry I didn't call you out at the beginning. I just see you now. But Saxon was one of our top 15 fundraisers as part of the 28 by 28 Mobility Challenge this past month. Absolutely just dominated with all of your fundraising. And then your Team Saxon, was just blown it out of the water in all of your posts. And just like the energy we could feel like just from your team, which was so cool. So would love, Saxon, for you to share a little bit more about your story, what movement means to you, your limb loss journey, also any challenges that you've had accessing prosthetic care, and why you wanted to get involved with So Everybody Can Move and the challenge this past month. So welcome.
Hey, how are you? Hello to everyone there. Yeah, just about 2 years ago, I was in a tragic motorcycle accident, and I lost my left leg. And prior to that, I was an avid athlete that ran, played football, just pretty much did anything that I could do to move. So with that being said, and just losing my leg and having that couple months or almost a year and a half of not being able to move like I used to, it was pretty tragic to me. It hurt my morale, it slowed me down, and definitely I lost a lot of my confidence. And not being able to move showed me that how important it was to me and then other people around me, that what moving meant. And just trying to get everything up, researching and trying to find all the things that I could potentially use to access my old life back was extremely hard. Getting the certain knee that I wanted, getting the certain prosthetic that what I thought I believed I deserved and needed, was extremely hard because someone else had to tell me what my mobility rate was or K level was, without even truly knowing me. And that was slightly frustrating. But to continue to work hard, continue to keep getting stronger and stronger and just not quitting. And then anything they said I couldn't do, I had to make sure I proved that I could do. And I got a lot of no's, but all those no's just made me more excited because I know just that much closer to getting a yes and getting to what I needed to get. It did take me 2 years. I just got my first running leg last week, through a great fundraiser through Heather Abbott and the Levitate Blade community. Um, Gifted me a blade. So that's been great. But getting it through health insurance and stuff like that has been extremely hard. A lot of no's. Just again, just saying it's not something it's not a necessity for me to have. So that's been extremely challenging. But over the last month, I came across the 28 by 28 group, and I just saw a different community that I never thought that I would ever be a part of. But once I got a part of it, it was just made me change my life. I was excited for it. I never want to let my own team down, but also I just want to be on top of the boards, just working out every day, posting every day, and it was just great. And then over the first 2 weeks, just meeting different people, just posting our workouts, just like, yes, like I'm not the only one that wants to move out here in my own situation. And then I just kept challenging myself and continue to work hard. And also my team pushed me every day to not give up. Like if it was like 10 o'clock at night, they're like, hey, yo, you haven't got a workout in. I'm like, all right, I got to get it done. And we continue to push each other, and it was amazing. And now, even though it's August 2nd, we still on it. We want to keep moving because we also let people know that we're not a one trick pony. We're not doing this just because there's just one challenge. We really want to put an eye and a spotlight on people that are in my situation, but just in people in general. That moving is everything, and if you're not moving, what are you really doing? So let's move. Let's continue to move forward. Situation and just other people in the world that are struggling to get the opportunity to move.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Saxon, for sharing all of that. And the videos you've shared, they've been incredibly motivating to me throughout the month. And I feel the same way. There were some days where I hadn't gotten in my workout, and then I was going out at like 11 o'clock at night just to get a walk in. So it was incredibly motivating that way. Also, so excited that you have your first running
Yeah.
blade, and excited to see, you know, you thrive with that, and just so grateful that you're part of this so that we can, you know, use that narrative and your story to help, you know, change law so that our community doesn't have to rely on, you know, charity or, you know, wait, you know, numerous years in order to get access. So excited to have you part of the Virginia team too, moving forward.
Yeah, I can't wait. Like I said, great opportunity. You guys are a great group, and I appreciate the spotlight. Spotlight to my own team, because without them, there is no me. So, but again, to join you guys' team is it's a gift, and I'm very grateful to be a part of your team, and can't wait to see what happens moving forward.
Awesome. Well, we're so excited to have you.
And
And
thank you so much.
yeah. Well, and then Jen Robinson from North Carolina, you all have been doing an incredible job getting things off the ground. And Jen would love for you to kind of share your story as well.
Yeah, thanks. Great to see everybody. So I'm Jennifer in North Carolina. I was born with bilateral PFFD, proximal femoral focal deficiency. So that means that I'm sure some of you might know what that means. I was born without hip joints and no femur on one side, a very small femur on the other side. I had some reconstruction surgery when I was about 2 years old to try to make my one limb, you know, be able to fit into a prosthesis. So I had a small foot amputated when I was 2. When I was born, my parents were told that I would never walk because of my lack of hip joints, the way my pelvis was formed, and my limb difference. But to everybody's surprise, I did. And I got my first prosthesis when I was 2. Oh, I wish I had it here because it's so cute. It's like a little doll leg.
Yes.
I love it. I have it up in my house. And I've been using a prosthesis for my whole life. And sometimes I would use crutches with it just because of the difficulty in my anatomy. But I was a prosthetic user for my whole life. In 1999, as I graduated from college, I decided that I wanted to sort of pay it forward. I had a really great experience with my rehabilitation and my prosthetic team at the Shriners Hospital. And so I just, you know, when I was little, the Shriners would be like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, I just want to be in this world. I want to be in this somehow. And so I entered the O&P field in 1999. And, you know, I've been a technician. I've worked in accounts receivables. I've worked in authorizations. I worked in marketing. I mean, my whole career has just been O&P to this day. So, you know, professionally, although I did not experience obstacles to prosthetic care because I went to the Shriners Hospital and then, you know, I worked for an O&P company. So I was very fortunate to have access to O&P care and to learn about that industry, components, the process, everything, sort of like see the magic behind the curtain from a professional point of view. And then a huge part of my job was removing obstacles for people. So I specialized in you know, very high level appeals, and I just fought like I just fought like a dog. I fought like I was fighting for myself. And I saw that there were so many cracks that people could fall through. I mean, there were so many reasons why somebody might not have access to the care that they need. And And I saw the burden that, we were placing on local charities, on the people that needed the care. I mean, it was just terrible. And removing those roadblocks became a huge part of what I loved most about working in our industry. And so that was really my why, was because I had such a great experience. And then I saw, working for an O&P company, that, wow, this is not everybody's experience. Like, I was super lucky. And ironically, now I am not able to use my prosthesis right now due to some hip problems that I'm having right now. So now I'm using a wheelchair, which I am not used to, and it's very humbling, I would say, and it's so different to navigate this world in a chair. And even as a prosthetic user, I would encounter obstacles like a curb, and I didn't really think about it because I'm like, it's a curb, I'm just gonna walk over it. But now that I'm in a wheelchair, it's like, oh, I can't go to that restaurant, or that restaurant has a bunch of pub tables. That sucks, and so, like, I am actually kind of thankful I'm trying to be thankful for the situation right now, because I think it gives me an even stronger understanding of new obstacles that maybe I'm not used to. So it's given me a little bit more motivation to fight for others. And I've been really lucky in North Carolina. There are, a number of very strong advocates here in North Carolina. We have really great O&P providers that are pushing things forward. And we have a senator who wants to dedicate the rest of his career to fighting for people living with limb loss and limb difference, because his daughter is yes, thank you for hating on the pub tables, I swear. He wants to dedicate the rest of his life to fighting for people with limb loss and limb difference. And so, I mean, North Carolina is kind of in a lucky position because we have an insider. It's Senator Perry, and he just resigned from the chamber, and he just wants to do this full time. So he's sort of giving us all the insider of all the people to talk, what we need to do. And that's been really, really amazing to work with someone like that. But yeah, so that's my why.
Absolutely. Jen, thank you so much for sharing that. And I think I probably speak for everyone just in saying that, we can feel the fire that you have as an advocate, and are just so lucky to have you leading the crew in North Carolina, and the relationship you've built with Senator Perry. I think there's going to be some really exciting things coming out of North Carolina. And also, just thank you so much for sharing your perspective of kind of going on this journey of using a prosthesis to now using a wheelchair, and heightening our knowledge as well about that perspective, and how collectively we are here for the disability community in all the ways and challenges that our community experiences. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jen and Saxon, so much for what you guys shared, really kind of centering us in this call, and why we're here, and why we're fighting for our right to move with So Everybody Can Move. We're going to jump now into our national updates. And I think we had shared it a little bit on the previous call, but it is official now that it happened in July. That New Hampshire is now officially the 8th state for So Everybody Can Move that's enacted legislation. Super exciting. So I just want to pass the mic over to Maggie, who is instrumental in helping the team there with Senator Prentice.
Thanks, Nicole. Yeah, it's very exciting. We had a hearing back in March, I believe it was, and have just been kind of steadily receiving positive news after that hearing about decisions that have been made. So very excited to hear the final signature by the governor took place. So it will be implemented in January of 2025. And Senator Prentice and I are working on putting together some kind of celebratory event, dinner, something that will likely take place at the end of September. And so just as a reminder, the New Hampshire legislation is for prosthetics only and for people under 18. And we did hear during one of the hearings, one of the legislators, or a couple of them, were saying, well, why didn't you go for all ages, or why not orthotics too? And we were like, we'd love that, but it actually, when we introduced the Senate version, had to compromise those things out. And so just a note to say that we can always go back later. This is part one, so this law will be implemented in 2025, and then hopefully we can work to expand it in the future.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Maggie. And yeah, exciting to see that during the hearings, you guys had that kind of feedback of, hey, let's expand this to all ages. Let's bring in orthotics. I think we're seeing many states that are kind of being able to kind of go back for a second bill to be able to expand things. So that's awesome. And the fact that it's being implemented 2025, it's right around the corner. So that's great.
Yeah. And it was another group also reached out to Senator Prentice on another prosthetics orthotics bill too. So we've had, it's been a big year for O&P and people with limb loss and limb difference in New Hampshire.
Awesome. Super exciting. All right, so 8 states now, which is great. So moving into the 28 by 28 Mobility Challenge, which is our goal, for those of you who don't know, we're trying to get 28 states to enact legislation by the 2028 Los Angeles Paralympics so that we can then pursue federal reform. And doing the 28 by 28 Mobility Challenge was a way to bring our community together, raise funds, get active, and would not be possible without our partner ON and their social impact program, Right to Run. We've got a special guest, Lauren Vincent, here. But before we invite her to speak, I'm just gonna hand it over to Kyle, who's gonna get a review of our impact over the past month and what went down as part of the challenge.
Absolutely. And so thanks, Nicole. And so for over the course of the Disability Pride Month, it was amazing because we had over 582 participants get active for 28 days. And so to kick things off, I want to share with you all a little, it was a fun recap video that we did in honor and celebration of the ADA anniversary, the 34th anniversary of the American, the ADA that happened on Friday. And so I'm going to share this video to show you all some of our community getting active.
1, 2, 3, 4. Movement is my happy place. Movement is my mental health. Movement is medicine.
Movement is a human right. Let's make it right.
Awesome. And so you saw from that, I'm going to jump back over and start from the beginning. Awesome. Sweet. So to kick things off, I cannot believe that we together raised over $92,000. And so at the beginning of the challenge, we shared our goal of $50,000. And what was beautiful is our community said, I think we can double that by week 2. And so we entered week 2. So over the course of our 28-day challenge, we had over 582 participants. And through the 582 participants, moved over 29,000 miles. And so thanks to them getting active every day, and we had 18 sponsors and 71 teams. And so together as a community, we raised $92,000. And, when I was looking, throughout the data, it was dollar by dollar. And most of our donations, were $100 to all of our participants, just showing collectively having over 800 individuals make a donation. And just showing the power of this community where we saw people from all across the United States getting active. Saxton shared a lot about inviting his community. I think that was really the most powerful part of our initiative, was seeing our community inviting their friends, their family to get active. And so for this campaign, we end up seeing our top 10 teams and our top 15 participants. So our top 10 teams you'll see here on the left-hand side, our team at Union O&P coming on top. Our team from Phil Hour West in second. Mary Free Bed O&P came in third. Pitt O&P, our team, the Foundation Fitness Fanatics, coming in fifth. Cornerstone Squad, the POG Boulder, and then Eastern Michigan University O&P, Amputee Coalition, and Phil Hour East coming in our top 10 teams. And so congratulations to our top 10 teams that absolutely just blew it out of the water with their fundraising, and our phenomenal top 15 participants. And so you'll see on this right-hand side our top 15 participants who raised over $750 each to make an impact towards our initiative. And so as a community, we would like to have a really special thank you as well to our phenomenal sponsors. And so On and their social impact program, Right to Run, joined us again this year and really stepped up this year as our presenting partner, really elevating this initiative, allowing us to have the resources and the tools to really make this the best experience possible for our community. And really thanks to our mobility partners, each week, these 4 sponsors stepped up to say, we want to sponsor this week and support the initiative. So thank you, Cornerstone, Blatchford, Alps, and Mary Free Bed for joining us as our mobility partner. And throughout the challenge, I think one of my favorite things was really being able to see some of also our other partners step up to motivate our community with a match donation, really inspiring them. Can we go above and beyond on individual days? And so these collective 13 partners, each of them stepped up on an individual day to sponsor. And so really thank you to these sponsors as well for their commitment to the 28 by 28 Mobility Challenge. And so, together we moved for change. And I look at the past 28 days and we saw everything from open water swims to one of my favorites, one of our advocates in Illinois would go on a daily walk, and like one of her favorites was going to a walk with her mom to go get lunch at their favorite deli in downtown Chicago, to individuals going on a run for their first time or going with their families. See Vincent from Nebraska in the right-hand corner, going on a walk with his family. And then our phenomenal team in Ohio hosted their inaugural Mobility Day, where they had over 30 participants from the limb loss and limb difference community. Some of them experiencing, a running blade for the first time or getting techniques and tips on their mobility to stay active. And so as a community, just want to say thank you. So many of you are on this call today with us, and just want to say from the bottom of our heart, thank you for committing to this month over Disability Pride Month. And we know this is just the beginning. As one of the key things we shared is, our goal from this fundraising is going to go towards the critical resources that we can support you all, to give you all the tools and the resources to do more and make a bigger impact. And we're excited for these funds to go to be implemented, for you all to see the impact of having more resources and the support that you need in order to make a difference and have that legislative change in your community. And so we'd love to invite, again, as we mentioned, our team at On, we have a really special guest, Lauren, who's representing our team at On and their social impact program, Right to Run. So we'd love for, Lauren, if you want to hop off mute and if you want to share any words.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name's Lauren. I'm on the social impact team, as I was introduced here at On. I sit on the partnership side, so manage some of our long-term partners and just, get to work with incredible organizations such as 28 by 28 and So Everybody Can Move. And it's just been such an honor to see this program, even over the last 2 years, grow so much and just see new states coming on board, new initiatives happening. It's just incredible to watch it happen like before our eyes. And we were able to support also last year the Hood to Coast team, and just seeing so many incredible creative ways to really like increase inclusivity within not only the running space, but just like the movement space as well. And being able to support you all around like operating costs. And I think a lot of times, like with big corporations, there's a lot of strict guidelines around what you can and can't support. And one thing great is On's big, but we're not that big. And so we are able to still support organizations such as this one with the marketing and just everything like that, that there's so much that goes into campaigns like this that people don't fully understand. And I think those have costs associated with them. So like really being able to support you all through so many different ways, getting our employees engaged. Yeah, it's just been such an honor, and I'm just so excited to continue working with you all and see, yeah, the impact grow and just continue to make such a difference. There, Nicole, I don't know if you saw in Portland recently, some man's blade was stolen from his locker room in Beaverton, Oregon recently, and it just is such awful timing, but also just brought such awareness to how important this cause is to so many people, and how those running blades and everything like are truly lifelines to people being able to move and like connect to movement. So it's just been, yeah, really interesting time to hyper focus on this topic, and yeah, just really honored to be able to support you all.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you, Lauren. Oh my goodness, I did not hear that about I'll have to find out, who that individual was and connect with them.
Yeah, we're trying to see what we can do as well. But Nicole, yeah, I'll send you some stuff because I'm from Beaverton, so I was like, it hit really home and made me very sad. So things like this are truly so important to so many people all over the country. So again, thank you all for what you're doing, and honored to be a sliver of it at the end of the day.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lauren, and thank you to Right to Run. One of the things that you mentioned, we just appreciate so much your flexibility too, and really dreaming big with us in terms of how we can use the funds, how it's going to impact, and not having kind of like a prescribed notion of what you do and don't support. I think that's been critical to us, especially as we've been very much in the startup phase and just getting things rolling with So Everybody Can Move. So thank you guys. And then the panels that we've done, with you as well in Boston and just now recently in Paris has just been amazing in terms of getting the word out and elevating the conversation. So we can't thank you guys enough for being such an incredible partner.
It's always the highlight of all of our events. I get told every single time afterwards of just like, that event was so inspiring. Like there's just so much joy and love and like inspiration that comes from those. So I'm glad that you were in Paris and you got to meet so many of the team members as well. And yeah, it sounds like it was an incredible time.
It was awesome. And Zach, of course, was just amazing. He's such a bridge builder. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. And I saw in the comments, when can we do the next one? I love that feedback. I kind of feel the same way. I'm like, oh man, what am I doing now for August? What's my goal? So we definitely are going to want to do the 28 by 28 Mobility Challenge again, make this a yearly thing. I think we proved the success of it this year and want to keep it going. So thank you for that feedback. And we'll be sending out kind of a survey to get feedback from everyone on how the event was, how we can make it better. And just improve upon it for next year as well. Kyle, any last words you wanted to share on that?
Yeah, I would say the last thing is this event would not have been possible without you all. I think this just shows the momentum that we have is 582 people signing up for an inaugural event that's off, it's completely virtual in our local communities, just shows the commitment of wanting to ensure that we achieve the goal of the 28 states. And just want to give you all the feedback of, we heard, especially when you're going through the activity comments or you're going through the donation comments, just how our advocates, you all, have really motivated and inspired an entire movement. And there's like hundreds and hundreds of people that want to be able to support this initiative. And that's really because of our advocates and you all. And so I just want to say from the bottom of our heart, thank you. Thank you for joining us. And together, not only did we move 29,000 miles, but we raised $92,000 collectively as a community. And so thank you all from the bottom of our heart.
Yeah. And I put it in the chat, but I want to do a shout out to Andy May for being our #2 fundraiser for the month. I see you on here, Andy. So great work. Thank you. All right. And we have another special guest here from Vignette. We've got Louise, Cameron, and Gary. I want to hand the mic over to you guys to talk about an exciting thing that we're doing as part of So Everybody Can Move, which is a documentary.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole, and thank you all for having us. I was going to say, speaking of dreaming big, we're gonna make a movie, which is very exciting. I want to keep this as tight as possible. I know that there's a lot of other items and priorities for you guys to go through, But also I'm really thankful for this opportunity to kind of quickly introduce ourselves and kind of talk about the project and sort of where we are in the process. So I'm Louise. I'm the senior producer and kind of casting and story development director at Vignette. And then we've got our core team here with Gary and Cameron as well. They're creative directors. They both shoot with the cameras, and Cameron is our head of post-production. So we all wear many hats. We're a small, nimble team, and we are very lucky to be able to work on really special projects. Like I said, we've, done a lot of commercial work in the past, but it's always been real stories, real people, a lot of healthcare work, obviously, because it really lends itself to that kind of storytelling. And then we've also worked on original documentaries, and most recently did one about volunteer firefighters across the United States, which was a really special project that I think was, personally fulfilling to all of us. And when we received a request for a proposal in our inbox from Nicole about this project, we were thrilled. And now, the last couple of months, we've been what we kind of called the discovery phase of the project. So we've been spending a lot of time with Joy and Nicole, really trying to, immerse ourselves in this topic and this cause, and, try to become as close to subject matter experts as we can. And it's really a big piece of it is kind of this educational piece to it. And, at this stage, I would say that the creative direction and in terms of, stories to tell, I think it's still pretty wide open. It's a great problem to have, but there are just so many stories, and directions that we could go, which is very exciting. And in terms of the goals for this film, I think it is an impact documentary that is directly, being created to really focus on this movement and support, the initiative and all the work that you guys have done so far. And the last, I think, week or two, I've really kind of started doing some further outreach where I've spoken to some of you on this call right now, which is, kind of twofold, partly, again, continuing that educational piece. I think, my brain has been exploding the last 2 weeks, just learning so much in so many directions. And so that's going to be an ongoing process. But then we're also kind of starting to lightly kind of think about different stories and explore that kind of casting part of the process. And so just wanted to, introduce myself. You'll likely be hearing from me. I'm sure Nicole and Joy can provide my email as well if you'd like to reach out. And we are just thrilled to be a part of this, and we're looking forward to learning more and meeting you all through the process.
Awesome. Thanks, Louise. And yeah, we'll drop that in the chat. Your email we've also been giving Louise, names and emails of everyone as part of the initiative. We have a lot of people involved, so I know you probably can't meet with everyone, but if anyone on this call has felt compelled by what Louise has shared and, wants your perspective and your story heard, we would encourage you to reach out and get connected. Again, this is a movement of all of us, and we want, kind of everyone's voice to be part of this. And just for a little bit of background, I just want to share that ABC is the group that has given us some seed funding to get this started with the documentary process. So we want to thank ABC. We're going to be doing some additional fundraising around this as well, to be able to fully, execute on the documentary. But think that this is such an incredible opportunity to really put our community and this problem on the map. Most people have no idea that this is an issue, and once they hear about it, they feel, very emotionally compelled to fix it. And so having a documentary is a really important part of this process for the education to combat, some of the narratives that are in the media around prosthetics, so that people really know that this is an issue and kind of bring a spotlight to our movement, and help increase our ability to fundraise and just get the word out. So having a documentary on this issue is important as part of that process. So
Yeah,
thank
and
you, Louise.
Of course, yeah, and a quick response to Molly in the chat on whether this is going to be a 90-minute film or not. I think that's the verdict is still out on that. You know, it really is going to depend on a couple different factors. We are really thinking about, you know, the distribution component of this at the start of the process. Obviously, you can make the best film in the world, but if it doesn't get seen or is, you know, placed in the right places, then it's not going to have the impact that we want it to have. So I'm sure Nicole and Joy will be happy to update you guys once we get a little bit more information on sort of the format and parameters we're going to choose to go with for this film.
Yes, absolutely. And Gary, I see you unmuted yourself. Did you want to share a few
I
words?
was going to jump in when I saw that comment as well, the question, and just echo what Louise said. Yeah, it really is a question of what is going to have the most impact. And there's everything from a shorter film that may be more more effective for community screenings around the country. We just the film that we did with John Deere had over 300 community screenings around the country that we set up, and it just got picked up by will be on PBS stations across the country this fall. So, but that was, you know, that was a 90-minute film. We ended up cutting it down to 60 minutes for PBS. You know, and then on the other hand, you've got the streaming platforms and, you know, if that's an excellent opportunity to get this story out in front of, you know, millions and millions of people. So it's really just kind of trying to figure out what's going to be the best platform and strategy. And we really want to take a strategic approach to thinking about the film.
Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of factors play into that, including funding as well, which will be kind of a key factor.
Always is.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. And yeah, we'll be sharing more information on that, but feel free, everyone, to reach out with any questions or ideas or connections that you might have as well to help the initiative with that. Awesome. All right. And then just a couple quick updates in terms of activities that are coming up at a few conferences. If you're going to be there, we want you to get involved and would love to see you in person at these events. The first one is Amputee Coalition's National Conference, which is next week. Whitney, I believe I saw you on the call if you wanted to share a little bit of an update of what's going to be happening at the Amputee Coalition's conference So Everybody Can Move.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Nicole. So we've got a couple of exciting things that are happening next week in Atlanta. We hope to see a bunch of you all there. So Wednesday, we're having our So Everybody Can Move Day, which we're having a number of clinics to get people active and involved. We're having a dance clinic, a line dancing clinic, an acting and theater clinic, yoga and martial arts. We're also doing play reading, which is really fun. And then we're doing 2 film screenings about access to durable medical equipment and prostheses, which is Driving Mrs. M and 1,500 miles. Next up on Thursday, we are doing a panel as one of the breakout sessions where we have a number of people that are on this call. We have David Seaman from Tennessee, Herb Kolodny from Connecticut, Maggie Balmer from Massachusetts, and Jennifer Robinson from North Carolina that are going to be working with Ryan for a So Everybody Can Move panel. And then Friday at the event, we are going to have Nicole and Danielle Cummings do a main stage session talking about their experience with the movement as well. We're going to have t-shirts for sale, So Everybody Can Move t-shirts available. On Wednesday for So Everybody Can Move Day, the first 50 people that come to registration that morning will get a free So Everybody Can Move shirt, but then the rest are going to be available throughout the conference. And then we're going to have all sorts of flyers and QR codes at the Amputee Coalition booth. And also AOPA was super kind and loaned their booth in the exhibit hall to the So Everybody Can Move Georgia team. So Everybody Can Move Georgia is going to have some volunteers staffing their table throughout the event, talking about what they've been doing in Georgia and trying to drive traffic to get more people involved. So it's going to be really exciting, super fun, and we can't wait to tell you all about the success the next time we get together.
Awesome. Thanks, Whitney. So many opportunities. Thank you guys so much for building all of that into the program, and excited to see many of you in person next week in Atlanta. Then we've got AOPA's National Assembly, which is in Charlotte, North Carolina this year. It's September 12th through the 15th. We've got some fun plans as well, a panel presentation. And on Saturday, the 14th, is the Women in OMP. And if you are someone that wants to go to that, all donations and kind of tickets from that are going to benefit So Everybody Can Move, which is great. And then we are planning in kind of after dark fun run / happy hour on that Saturday evening for those of you in person. So that'll be a fun way for us to get together. And then Jen Robinson and the crew at the North Carolina kind of chapter are putting together a meeting. So just want to kind of plug that for anyone to be able to have that kind of connection to So Everybody Can Move North Carolina as well. So we'll have more information coming your way and ways for you guys to sign up and see each other in person at that event as well. All right. So as we're moving forward with the agenda for today, we've added kind of a new section that we wanted to kind of give some tips for 2025. I know a lot of states are in the process right now of preparing to have legislation. It's not too early at all, August, to be hitting the ground running to have legislation come January. And now really is a critical time to be thinking about a few key things. And so we're going to have Olivia Keller from the Amputee Coalition share her perspective on hiring a lobbyist, whether you need to be registered as a lobbyist, kind of all things lobbyists, because of her background that she brings. And then we'll have Kyle share some information on tips about building key relationships as you lead up into the 2025 session. So Olivia, thank you so much for sharing.
Sure. So I'm Olivia. I am the public policy manager here at the Amputee Coalition. We just wanted to talk a little bit about lobbying. We want to make sure that no one gets themselves into trouble, engaging in activities where they need to register as a lobbyist. So just some overall general tips for individuals and grassroots organizations. Grassroots lobbying, so that is you lobbying as an individual, loose coalition, so kind of what is formulating in a lot of states here, made primarily of individuals that are kind of working together. That lobbying, it's still lobbying, but it is a First Amendment rights protection. It falls under right to speech, association, and petition. Under federal law, you do not need to register as a lobbyist. However, in some states, even loose grassroots coalitions still have to register. There may not be a fee associated with that, but you still have to register as a lobbyist. You can face fines and penalties for not doing so. So something you definitely want to check with your state laws. Most of the times your state legislature will have information on lobbying on the website, so you may want to review through that. If you are with a 501c3 like the Amputee Coalition, you can engage in lobbying. However, there are some restrictions. So you can only spend a insignificant amount of your staff time on lobbying efforts. So if you are expending a lot of staff pay on lobbying, you could potentially lose your C3 tax exempt status, which is a big deal for a C3. So we want to make sure that if you are engaging in lobbying activities, number one, the funds for that cannot come from federal grants. So if you are completely federally funded, then no, you actually cannot engage in lobbying. Period. The end. Stop right there. If you do have other sources of funding, there are private grants that will allow you to lobby, but you want to, of course, check with your funders on that to make sure that is an allowable activity. But you can spend some time lobbying. And then for businesses, if you have an in-house lobbyist, they can only spend about 20% of their time lobbying. You can only spend, I think it's $24,000 according to federal law in a 6-month period on lobbying. So there are still some restrictions there. States do have different expense ratios for that. So again, that's something you may want to check with your state. Some states, the minimum or the maximum amount that you can expend is 5%. So you definitely want to be on the lookout for that. So real quick, what does lobbying mean? What is lobbying? There is a very fine line sometimes between education and lobbying. So a good rule of thumb, if you're not wanting to engage in lobbying, you can still provide legislature education. So that means that you can go and talk about the problem. This is an issue for me, but you're not advocating for any specific bill. You can also do fact sheets on the impact to your community of certain legislation, but again, you can't ask them to take a position on that bill. Once you ask an elected official to either support or oppose legislation, that is absolutely lobbying. If you're engaging in grassroots lobbying as an organization, so that means you're not necessarily directly asking someone to take a position, but you are putting a social media post or a call to action to your members or the people that you work with, asking them to do that, that is still engaging in lobbying activities. Some ways around this, with not having to register as a lobbyist, is to hire an outside lobbying firm. So if you were doing that as a coalition, people pool their resources, they hire a lobbying firm, then you do not have to register. That lobbying firm has to register and they have to list you as the principal that they are advocating for. But you don't have to register as a lobbyist for your organization or coalition. So that's just some quick and dirty rules for that in the short time that we have. If anybody wants to reach out, I'm happy to answer more in the weeds questions, but definitely check out your state legislator websites just to make sure that you're not tripping over any of the lobbying requirements.
Great, thank you for that, Olivia. And I think someone put in the chat, Julie, a little bit more kind of guidance on this. We can definitely put a one-pager together on this. I think in general, we want to be able to kind of share information, but also not scare anyone with the term lobbying. At the end of the day, you are advocating, you are educating, and there is nothing wrong with being able to do that. I think if you are a state lead or a core team, or core team member, and you are, at the Capitol day in and day out, this might be something for you to consider getting registered as a lobbyist. And if you have questions on that, we would want you to go to your state coach to kind of ask and just have this conversation. So just kind of dropping that as, something for all of us to be aware of. But also when it comes to hiring a lobbyist, I think that's something that we would love to encourage you all to look into as part of kind of the resourcing for this. And also share that we've had states that have been incredibly successful being able to hire a lobbyist for reduced rates or even pro bono contracts. So I know Ange Montgomery in Colorado was able to secure a lobbyist for around $20,000. Our team in Washington secured one for $30,000, and our team in Oregon just recently was able to get a contract completely pro bono. So it just depends on the relationships that you're able to build, but something that we kind of wanted to share with you all is that because we are coming together as a national movement and we are building resources together, we actually have a lot to offer a lobbying firm and to sponsors and legislators. We have an entire package that's already built. They're not starting from scratch. And this is a really great movement and just bill for legislators to work on. It's something exciting that they want to do. So there may be many lobbying firms, if you are able to approach one that is a little bit larger and might be able to set aside some kind of budget for doing more pro bono work, that they would actually find this exciting to partner with you and work on this. And so that's something we kind of just wanted to get across in terms of resourcing and encouraging you all to not be shy to hire a lobbyist and to kind of go in that direction of having those resources. So thank you, Olivia, for doing kind of an overview on that and just getting everyone kind of a little bit more familiar with the terminology within lobbying. So now I'll hand it out to Kyle to touch base on some key relationships you guys should be building ahead of 2025.
Awesome. Thanks, Nicole. Knowing that we're going into the fall, this is a really great opportunity that most state legislatures are not in session. So this is a really good opportunity to be scheduling those meetings with potential sponsors. And so the first key relationship is for those that don't have a sponsor yet. And so when you're looking for a sponsor, a couple of key places to look for. One, does someone have a potential lived experience, whether they personally live with a disability or they have a family member that has a disability, is often someone that has a personal connection. So taking the time to read through, it's some people, I love our Ohio team because they absolutely love going, they went like elected official by elected official and started nerding out on, who is each person, what's their story, what's their background. But knowing that most of us don't have the time and capacity to do that. And so the first place to start is looking at where are key committees that your bill could potentially go through. And so some of those might be finance, it could be insurance themed, it could be healthcare based. And so work with your state coach to kind of figure out, looking at your different committees that you have within your state legislature, and really reaching out to first leadership. Leadership is a great place to start because leadership has some key influences in the ability to, one, schedule hearings. If your bill has also the influence in how your bill can move through your legislative process. And so your first step is really to take the time right now to build a relationship with leadership on committees that your bill could potentially go through. So that's the first one. Second is allied health organizations. So allied health organizations can help you all with a couple of key things. Those are your OT organizations, your PT, PM&R, hospital associations. But one of the beautiful things also about those organizations, they often already have an infrastructure to hire a lobbyist. And so we've seen some best practices in Maryland. Maryland was able to secure a pro bono lobbyist because the lobbyist worked for the hospital association. Because of scheduling that meeting with one, we knew that they could, one, be great advocates for us to promote and raise awareness about the issue. Often when you're introducing your legislation, you're going to hearings, you're going to have the opportunity to share testimonies. And one of those ways of the testimonies is a written testimony. And that's often showing all the organizations that sign on and support your legislation. So having a robust coalition from the wide spectrum of the allied health community is really important. And so another example is in New Mexico, we were able to get support from the Physical Therapy Association. Their lobbyist was able, they weren't full-time with us, but they were able to connect us with certain key legislators. So a great group is going to be your allied health organizations because they're going to provide grassroots support, potentially raising awareness to their membership about getting involved. Because of being in the healthcare space, they're going to have a vested interest in our initiative. The third is going to be your Office of Superintendent of Insurance. Each state may phrase that a little bit differently. It could be Insurance Commission, Office of Insurance, but that group has a very clear role in the oversight and the regulation of how the bill is going to ultimately be implemented, and the governance and oversight of the commercial plans in your state. And so the Office of Superintendent of Insurance will play a key role, and they can provide technical support to you all. Most offices of insurance can't take a side on a bill because they are a department of a state, but they can provide you technical support, guiding you through certain specific language that should be in your bill to support you to achieve your goal. They'll also be able to provide you certain key information about elected officials so that you can be able to guide that through your conversations with them. They're also going to be a really important role in the implementation. So when your bill does pass your state legislature, they will be responsible of communicating to the commercial plans about updating the evidences of coverage, ensuring the evidences of coverage are updated, and also will be a key stakeholder in a lot of relationships for the regulatory process. So ensuring that, one, obviously the communication to the commercial plans, but also can play a role in helping you all be connected with other areas of the state government. If you end up going through the regulatory process, or if you want to expand your bill for Medicaid, they'll be a great partner for that as well. And they're really one of your main stops because the Office of Superintendent of Insurance will be a stakeholder that your legislative analysts and a lot of elected officials will be leaning on to understand how the bill is going to be written into code in your state. And so that's a great group to have as an advocate and partner of yours. Next is going to be the legislative analyst that handles budget and fiscal reports. And so some of you may have gone through the process of receiving a potentially very inflated fiscal note. To be very transparent with you, it is often a young individual that came out of college or someone that's been there a long time that has no understanding of the O&P industry. And what we're learning is a lot of times these legislative analysts do what we all do as well. They go to Google. And unfortunately, Google doesn't have the best information when it comes to the actual fiscal impact and the costs of prosthetic and orthotic devices. And so a great example is I use as a best practice is Cheryl in Maryland. They received a astronomical fiscal impact report. So to be honest, so the other thing about fiscal impact reports are often, if you're only going commercial route, you shouldn't have a high fiscal note. And we can work with you on that as well. But ultimately, is the fiscal notes are often, they're always going to be produced for any bill that could have a potential fiscal impact. But if you end up in creating coverage for Medicaid in your state, you will have a financial impact due to how the state will be covering, will be provided in the budget for Medicaid. And so what we've seen is being able to partner with the legislative analysts. So if you're able to do that from the very beginning with your sponsor asking, can we schedule a meeting with the legislative analyst that's responsible of producing the fiscal note? Can we connect them with subject matter experts so they can get accurate data? And so that's going to be really important, is understanding what is their methodology to end up creating the fiscal note for your state, and asking them, is there a possibility of connecting them with subject matter experts? And so that was a great example. Maryland was able to provide them updated data and information on how to calculate the actual cost per device. And so they were able to get their fiscal note from in the hundreds of millions down to a little over $1 million for their fiscal note. And so your state coach can play a key role in helping you through that process, but they'll be a key stakeholder to meet with. So again, sponsors. So starting to build this relationship with the chairs and leadership on committees. Second is allied health organizations. Third is the Office of Insurance Commission. And then fourth is a legislative budget analyst. That'll be your sponsor producing your fiscal note.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Kyle. And Julie, thanks again for kind of the feedback in the chat. I think definitely having this not only in kind of audio, form, but having some visuals, a one pager or something that kind of lists this out would be helpful.
I mean, honestly, the experience behind it and the passion behind it makes it hard to keep up when I'm trying to take it all down. So I appreciate it. It's really great information, but actually being able to reference it, share it with my team in a format that makes sense instead of my scribbly notes that maybe missed half of it. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
And I would like to end with, I think this is what's the beautiful thing about this movement, is that we are creating these best practices as we learn them. And really these best practices are coming from all of our shared experiences. And so as you're navigating your legislative process, if you're entering a challenge, you may think, I think this is a challenge that most states are probably also going through. Please share that feedback with your state coach, is so that we can document that and put that into the report. Because I will say, these 4 best practices have been fine-tuned over the course of the 8 states that have ultimately, passed our legislation. We've discovered that these are patterns. And now I think as we're getting closer to, our goal, this, as we're entering the, I would say, the second quarter of our initiative. As we're entering the second quarter of our initiative, we're now having some better tools and game plans, so that we can get to, halftime and then to the finish line. So thanks for that feedback, Julie.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Kyle. That was helpful. All right. So last kind of portion of the agenda, we really wanted to kind of do an open forum for state updates. So instead of me kind of doing a roll call, I know it's summertime. A lot of people are out on vacation. If you're a state lead or one of your kind of core team members, would love for you to kind of raise your virtual hand to give an update, and we'll kind of go through those by that. I know we've got about 15 minutes left in the call, so to kind of keep them 1 to 2 minute updates would be great. So yeah, we've got Sarah Mae from Oregon.
Hi guys, thank you so much for all being here and for this incredible information and support. Just a quick update on our end. We're really excited. We secured lobbyists, like Nicole said, for pro bono. So we're really excited to get that ball rolling. And we kind of have an unofficial bill sponsor. The chair of the House Behavioral Health and Healthcare Committee said that if we did not have someone else sign on by September, that he'd be happy to get us a bill number, but that he gave us a bunch of suggestions of people that he thought would have more bandwidth to support and really champion this cause. And so with our lobbyists and stuff, we'll be reaching out and hoping to secure our official sponsor here soon. So thank you guys so much.
Awesome. Great work, Sarah May. Ashley from Washington.
Hi, everyone. We've had some good progress with coalition building over the last couple months since the last time we updated folks, and we also secured a lobbyist for the 2025 session in Washington. So we're super stoked to start working with her like in 3 days and get things going in Washington and get prepped for the session that starts in January.
Awesome. Thanks, Ashley. And yeah, I would just echo what both Ashley and Sarah May shared. If anyone has questions on how to secure a lobbyist or ways to kind of approach those conversations, I think both of them learned some great kind of tips and tricks through the process. And it also helps just working through your network. It was actually through Kelly Geis from Cornerstone. Her sister is a lobbyist. And so, you know, work all the different connections and network that you have is what would be one piece of advice there. All right, Justine from Alaska. Oh, Justine, I don't know if it's my end, but I can't hear you. Oh no, we might have an audio issue. I think I don't know if it's just me. Are other people having trouble hearing? Looks like maybe same. Would you mind trying to come back in and then we can have you share? Okay, sounds great. Thank you. All right, David, we'll go to you for Tennessee.
Don't really have so much an update other than we're actually looking to change our lobbyists. We had someone approach us. And they have an extremely strong track record in disability rights and legislation. And they saw where we failed last year and said, hey, we want to help you, which was great. Which points out one of our stumbling flaws from the get-go was that we didn't network and to talk to the disability community at large before we started down this path. But the main reason why I wanted to raise my hand was actually to, I guess, draw a question. And, we talk about lobbying, but I think it'd be great on a national level if we're talking about putting a one-pager for lobbying, putting a one-pager for all these different things. We need to also talk about fundraising. I'm trying to get figured out how to do maybe several 5Ks across our state. And I'm figuring out as I go, and I know there's companies that do it, but I'm sure there's people that have already done it and have that those resources. And I think that's something that maybe we need to have a session just around fundraising because, we were able to negotiate really great rates. We've been very successful with keeping our costs low, but it's still $40,000, it's still $5,000 a month or whatever the case may be in some situations. And so I think as a community, we need to talk about the fundraising, especially with the success we've just come off of the 28 by 28.
Absolutely. Would love to chat with you a little bit more about that, David, and kind of maybe get some additional thoughts of how we could roll something out that could help support you all from a fundraising perspective, whether that's if you're looking for kind of tips on fundraising or, infrastructure, that sort of thing. Great. I don't know if Justine has come back into the call yet.
I'm back. Yeah.
Okay. Yay. We can
Can you
hear
hear me now? Okay. Awesome.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited to share. We just had a meeting with one of our state senators' staff, and they're really interested in sponsoring the bill, or at least co-sponsoring. He's one of the few state senators who we're sure will be involved in this next legislative session since we're in an election cycle this year. So we're focusing on they're going to request a formal draft of the bill to be written, which is exciting because then we'll be able to take it to other potential co-sponsors. And in the meantime, we're just going to focus on coalition building, building support among constituents. We're going to try to create a map of people who are affected with limb loss and limb difference in Alaska, And I think that'll be pretty cool to see, because I think we kind of assume that it's like, or people maybe assume that it's sort of concentrated in like areas where we have larger populations, but a lot of the native villages are disproportionately affected, and especially with orthotics, which is something that we're really feeling strongly about keeping in the bill. So yeah, building support over the next few months, and then finding more co-sponsors come like November, December, January.
Awesome. That's great. It seems like from the last time we've chatted, you guys have made some significant progress. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and we are in the process of kind of reassigning state coaches. I know we haven't had a chance since you guys came on within the past few months to assign you a state coach, but feel free to reach out with any support that you guys need as you guys are moving forward, and then we will have a state coach to be your national contact.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Rick.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rick Riley. I don't know all of you, but I just want to say, wow. This is the first time I've been on this call. I'm the incoming president for AOPA, and it's just thrilling to see so many people involved in this and to hear the patient stories. And I wanted to say that related to California, I had a conversation with Spencer Green, who's the president of COPA this last week, and I used to chair the government affairs committee for COPA and did a lot of state lobbying. And he sent me the invite for the next 4 months worth of their meetings. And I am going to push really hard for this to be an initiative. I want to be a part of this. It's just amazing. And I think we have a lot of existing relationships, and we have a full-time lobbyist. So I think we're at a good starting point. We just need to really engage with this group, and I would love to coordinate with Nicole. You may have had already some conversations with California, but I just am thrilled, and I just feel like such a resource, a pool of people here. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. That's great to hear, Rick. And California is going to be a big one in terms of states to be able to tackle. And I think a really important one, given our goal of 28 by 28 and the connection to the Los Angeles Paralympics. That's something we've been chatting about. I know Maggie has had a lot of interactions with COPA and Spencer. And so I know plugging her into California will be really important, but also us getting connected to some of those kind of organizations within California, but then also the LA 2028 group is one of our missions as well, to get connected with them. So excited to have you part of the team. I know you'll drive a lot of energy and forward movement there. Thanks. Anyone else want to share an update? Yeah, Brittany.
Yeah, I just wanted to let Rick know I'm on the COPA board for the committee, not the board, I'm on the committee for government relations. And this last meeting, we had been having our focus on other things, so we hadn't been super involved. But I've remained involved here with this group as much as I could personally. But the last meeting with the government affairs committee, they decided they do want to start being more involved with this movement. So Rick, I'm going to put my email in the chat for you so that we can connect. And yeah, we're going to try to, join forces within California and help out in any way we can.
Great. Thank you so much, Brittany.
Yeah, of course.
Fantastic. And Anne, sorry, I misspoke. You have been the state coach helping Alaska. I know we're kind of envisioning some states, but thank you for the work that you've done there. All right. Any other individuals wanting to provide an update what's happening in their state? So thank you guys for the updates. We'll leave it open for any questions or feedback that you guys want to provide. Otherwise, just want to say thank you all so much for a dynamic call today. We stayed on time, which is also a win for once. But thank you all so much for the work that you guys did this past month with the 28 by 28 Mobility Challenge. I think we've got a lot of momentum, a lot of excitement going into 2025, and really excited to see what we're going to be able to do over the next year. Of course, our next call is on October 4th, so we will stay in touch until then, but we will see you in October. So thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Happy to stay on, answer any questions if anyone has any. Mary, I see that you messaged in the chat.
Hi.
Hey,
So I'd like to get more involved here in New York.
Okay.
If there must be people working on it in New York already, right?
we have, and Maggie, you might have a better sense of this for New York, with Matt Johnson there,